Before we get started, let's go over the tools I'll be using. A gunsmith hammer, mostly for the polymer end. I have a very small Allen key. I have an aftermarket trigger, so to get to certain parts you actually have to use this rather than a punch. Then I have a basically multi-head screwdriver set. And finally, a punch set with an extra punch in there. Alright, here's our Sauer P365 that we're first going to ensure is clear. We're going to remove the feed source, no ammunition. We are going to rack the magazine a few times, lock it back, visually and physically inspect that the firearm is clear. And we'll leave that locked back for now. And we'll bring in the magazine. And our first tool, we will use I'm going to use a 1/8 punch. Simply depress, slide the end of the magazine base pad forward. Okay. Always have a little bit of trouble here. There. Slowly release the spring so it doesn't come flying at your face. Should always be wearing safety goggles anyway, or glasses. And there's the spring and follower, and there is the empty magazine. We will reassemble this. Follower goes in first. Sorry. That. Just depressing with my finger. I'm going to make enough room so that the base pad can get on there and go until it clicks and the base pad's full and the magazine's back together. Next, let's go to we'll start with the frame and the upper, the slide, and then we'll work on the fire control group from there. So first, we'll again clear firearm. It hasn't changed its state since I first checked it. We will take the slide off, and to get to the magazine release, we have to take out the fire control group. So I'm just going to usually this pin comes out fairly easy. There it is. There it is, all the way out. There's the pin. Now simply just take a punch, stick it in, lift up, and the fire control group is out. Like I said, we're going to start with the magazine release. I'm not going to remove the light just because it's not part of the gun as it's manufactured. But we will remove the magazine release. We'll depress it from the left side of the firearm. And there is a little hole right there. We're going to use this little Allen wrench. And we're going to put it in there and work. As you can start to see, there's a little piece coming apart from it. Sorry. We'll remove this little piece and slowly let go. And the magazine release will come out with the spring. For full disassembly, I guess there, it's apart. And then we're ready for reassembly. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to put this back the way it was. If you are left-handed, you could actually switch it, but I'm not going to do that. Let's carefully get through, not flat, and then just want to work your way through there. Once you get through the other side, you take the piece that came out to release it, and you will reinsert it into its home. So you hear a click, and it's in there, and you can actually see it move to the side there. If you look down into where the magazine would go. And that's our grip module, detailed field strip. Next we will do the slide, and just like a normal field strip, you would take out the recoil spring guide rod and the barrel. Next we'll take the ejector out. An armorer's block is handy for this, but I don't have one, so I'll be using painter's tape. And what I'm going to do is the roll pin is right there in that little hole. We're going to push out through the bottom. Grab the right Okay, 5/64 punch, and we'll take our hammer and we'll lightly tap down. Okay, the pin's out, but we're not going to take the punch out quite yet because the ejector is under spring tension, but there's the roll pin. Sorry about that. We'll carefully, while holding the back of the ejector, we'll take the punch out and slowly let off. We will put the ejector slightly forward and pull it out. There's our ejector. And then inside we have a spring. And there's a little piece of polymer in. Careful with springs, they like to fly away. There's a little piece of polymer inside that. I honestly don't know what it does, but I'm leaving it in there because it's there. So to put it back, we'll put that back. And then from the front, you want to kind of rock it back into place. And you're going to depress it like you were before. Where a non-metal hammer is very helpful. You can see we have the pin most of the way in. We'll take our punch. You want a little countersunk from the top, but you want to make sure it's not sticking out under there, and it's not. And that's our ejector removed and replaced. I'm not going to be removing the sights because they are sighted, so I don't want to ruin that, plus I don't have a sight pusher. Next, we will make a little room and bring out the screwdriver set. Back, get rid of the tape, and we will grab a smaller flathead. What we're going to do is we're going to depress this little tab right here. So we're going to depress that, and we're going to slowly push the end cap off while keeping our finger there because it's under spring tension and you don't want stuff to go flying. So we'll slowly let it go. And there's our end cap. And to release the striker assembly, you're actually going to push down this plunger, but you're going to hold it once you remove the striker assembly because it's under spring tension, as it seems most stuff is here. And we'll actually take that out. This is striker safety. There is the spring for it and the striker safety itself. And that's basically the entire slide gutted. We'll get back to that in a second. There's a little more to do. Again, armorer's block would be great here, but again, I don't have one, so we will do it this way. We're going to actually free up the striker by slowly release after. I should say you pull down on the spring while holding the back so it doesn't move, and these two halves of the spring holder will come off. One of them came off, and they actually both came off, and one went flying, but I did catch it. Remove the spring, and we will remove the striker from the housing, and there's one more little spring on the inside of the housing for a striker, and that is the slide disassembled. So now we're going to put everything back together, hopefully without shooting parts across the room, but who knows, stuff happens. Grab our spring. We're going to put the striker there. I will say this is easier without gloves, but I'm wearing gloves, so I like to make things hard on myself apparently. Got one on. Had one on. And depress that spring. Yeah. Again, armorer's block would be great here, yeah. But we work with what we got. Sorry, this is taking way longer than it should. one half on. And like I said, I'm having issues, of course, because it's on camera and I'm wearing gloves. Give me 1 second. Okay, I took the gloves off. So hopefully I'll have an easier time. And there we go, right away. So there's the striker put back together. We'll get rid of the tape again. We will grab our slide. And then first we have to put the striker safety in. Place a spring in its place in the striker safety. We'll take the slide. Make sure you can see this. And we're going to put this in that hole with the spring facing outwards. Easier said than done. It likes to get caught up on stuff. It's in. And we can see it's in because when we push it, it completely disappears from inside there. So now we'll put our striker back in. Okay, that's in. And then we will simply push that and depress our striker safety too. There we go. And you hear that click, snaps into place, it's not going anywhere. And that's the striker assembly reassembled. We will go ahead and put the slide back together with the barrel. And the recoil spring guide rod. Make sure it's seated correctly. We will then, just to make sure everything went in correctly, we will replace the fire control group into the frame and replace our pin. That's even on both sides. Fire control group's returned. Everything's where it should be. We will then put the slide back on. Lock it to the rear. The takedown lever went up on its own. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. We will rack the slide a couple times. It's working. We will function test, safe direction, trigger pulled, simulate a round being fired, reset, and pulled. That is the frame and slide completely stripped. Next we will be moving on to the fire control group. Alright, I've removed the fire control group again, as you saw in the last part. I'm trying to get the camera stable so it's not all shaky for you. Sorry. Okay. I'll be honest, I might mess this up. With this aftermarket trigger, you have to do things a little bit different than you normally would. So first we'll do that. And our first thing that we will remove the manual safety. Take our screwdriver that we used before, put the safety in the bottommost position. I may need a smaller bit, may not. Yeah, there we go. Just to depress that carefully. There is a spring in there. And we will remove our manual safety. Careful, this piece does come out. It's spring loaded. And we'll set that aside. Alright, next. Like I said, I have to try to remember how to do this because it's not the same as a normal takedown. Let's put that like that. Depress sear. Yeah. There we go. We need the takedown lever bar out. And I actually messed up. You're actually supposed to partially remove this pin, which holds in a safety. I just pulled it out completely with the takedown lever bar. So want to be careful of that, but that had to come out anyway. I know where it goes at least, so it's a plus. So we'll set those aside. We will now use our Allen wrench because this trigger is made so that you can't get a punch quite in there that you could on the factory trigger, and we will push the trigger pin through. Okay. Try and keep things organized. I will give you a full picture after everything's done. Takedown lever comes out. Sorry, I'm moving pieces around because that one piece did come out that wasn't supposed to come out yet. So I want to make sure I put things back in the right order. Next we will remove the trigger return spring. You can do this with a punch, a small pair of needle nose pliers. With my screwdriver set, I actually got a U-notched flathead that actually works really well for this, I've seen. And we will push here. Making sure that the trigger can't go back, because that will, there we go. There we go. Take that out. Trigger return spring out. And now we will remove the trigger bar by bringing it up here and around. I actually might have to make some adjustments real quick and loosen up this trigger. It's adjustable, but I need more mobility than it's allowing me right now. There, trigger bar is off. And then we will get the trigger off. And forgot the name of this. It's a safety mechanism. It goes in one way up here. I can tell you what it does. I just forgot the actual name of it. It makes it so that if the gun is out of battery, the trigger cannot be pulled. It'll block it. Trigger block? Safety? Maybe? Sounds about right. I'm not an expert. I just go to school here. Then we will finally remove this pin that should have came out now. And then we will have removed our safety lever. And now all we have left in the fire control group is the sear and the sear spring. The by far two hardest parts when it comes to disassembling and reassembling this firearm. I have taken it apart fully like this once. Disassembly we should be able to do fairly easy. We're going to push this pin through this side, following it through with our punch. It only comes out one way because it has a almost like a nail-like head. Alright, we're going to hold the sear because I don't remember. Okay, yeah. It's no longer under spring tension once you remove that, and they'll both come out. There's the sear and the sear spring. And there is the fire control group. Oh, almost completely stripped. Forgot one piece because I never remove it because it is a pain to put back. The slide stop / release, whatever you want to call it. See if we can use the same bit to remove this spring, which should be fairly easy to take out. Maybe. There. Okay, there we go. Alright, let's give you a full overview. Sorry if it gets a little shaky. Of all the parts, we have the takedown pin, manual safety with its plunger and spring. The takedown lever bar. The trigger pin, the takedown lever, the trigger return spring, and then we'll go back like this. We have the trigger bar, the trigger shoe, I believe trigger block safety. I want to say that's what it's called, but I'm not 100% sure. The pin that holds the safety lever in, the safety lever itself. Of course I magnetize this, so it's grabbing everything. The pin that holds in the sear and sear spring. The sear spring, slide catch / stop, and release, whatever you want to call it, and the slide catch spring, and then the completely stripped fire control group. I will be right back with a reassembly. Alright, we're going to start the reassembly of the fire control group. We will start by putting the spring in, the sear spring in, getting that roughly where it needs to go. Grab a punch here. I'm just checking to see if it's where it needs to be or not. Okay, scratch that. We'll just start with the sear, and we'll put the spring in after. The bottom piece of the sear is going to sit in this little pocket in here, and you can see the bottom of the sear there. Now we'll take a punch and put it where that nail style pin's gonna go, and we're gonna use some tension to keep it in place, and we will put the sear spring in and hope it lands where it needs to go, but of course it probably won't, because it likes making your life difficult. Yeah, that's not where it needs to be. Sorry if I take this off camera. It's just really hard to film and deal with intricacies like this at the same time. To put the thinnest bit I have in my screwdriver. See if we can use that to get stuff into position. No. Alright. There's a little shelf that this spring has to ride on, and if it's not riding there, it won't work. So getting it in there correctly is fairly difficult. Let's see if that's it. And of course it's not. Again, sorry for taking it off camera. And also, since I'm filming on my phone, I do apologize if it goes off, rings, or gets any alerts. Can't really turn alerts off for the whole time I'm doing this. Yeah, I'm on camera. Barely, but I'm there. The sad part is I actually practiced this just before doing it on camera, and I figured it out, but of course now it's going to give me a hard time, because why not, right? That's actually where it needs to go. Alright, we will grab that nail-shaped pin, and we will slowly and very carefully replace this punch see. All right, still where it needs to be. I'm going to take this and push this little spring, part of the sear spring, up onto a ledge that's supposed to go on. And it's up there. Our sear and sear spring are in place. Now we'll move on to the slide, stop, / release, and spring. Just putting this spring in place and pushing the other end up. And we'll grab our, I'm just going to call it a slide stop for the rest of the video, so I hope you don't mind my terminology. And grab that. Again, something I did off video just to make sure I could do it. This way. Okay, got it. And test tension. That is where it needs to be. Alright, next. Okay. We will put the safety lever, sorry. Bar, lever, kind of the same thing. And we'll use the pin that's supposed to go in there. Actually put the pin in first. Get that through. I've actually found that your punches are great pin replacements. So once we get the lever where it needs to be, stick a punch in. And the pin is in as far as it needs to be to hold that in for now. Can't put it all the way in yet because we need to put our takedown lever bar back in. But it is holding it in place now. See, it goes up and down while coming out. Sorry. Then we will do the safety trigger block safety. Again, I think that's what it's called. Not 100% sure on that. Oh, there we go. Next, we'll put our trigger in. Trigger shoe, I should say. We'll play. Then we will put our, we'll put our trigger bar in, connecting it to the trigger shoe. Connect there, and then bringing it back so it can go into place. Again, with aftermarket trigger makes things a little bit more complicated, but I believe there we go. It is in place. And now we're going to do our trigger return spring. I'm going to do this while also making sure nothing else falls off, so I don't have to redo it. We're going to put, it's a symmetrical spring, so we're going to put one end through here. like so. It's caught right there. And the other end, we're actually going to push into that hole. Our U-notch screwdriver. And our trigger return spring is in. Next, we will put our takedown lever back. Goes in at about 7 o'clock and rotate it forward. And now we can replace our trigger pin. As you can see, once you get rolling with this, it's actually fairly easy. I say that now. Again, this aftermarket trigger, it's a little tighter. So I might actually need to tap that in lightly so I don't mess up my takedown lever. Come on. Okay, why are you not going in? Try. The trigger is not lining up correctly. No, don't come up. I actually didn't have problems with this last time. Why I am now, I don't know. I'll be right back. I'm going to see why I'm having an issue with this. Alright, just found that I have to kind of manually align the trigger to get the pin in. Again, with the factory trigger shoe, it's not this hard at all. It actually almost falls out on its own. There. Now that's in. Next, we will replace the takedown lever bar. I typically have issues with this. Somehow I didn't today. Now this is that safety lever pin. We're going to rotate it and push it in, making sure our safety lever is still connected, not falling out. Finally, we have our manual safety. Just have to line up. Line up. And push that little detent. And our manual safety is installed back in the fire control group. We'll drop the takedown lever. And if any of this was off camera, I greatly apologize. I did my best. We're going to put the fire control group back into the frame and return the pin where it goes by hand. And we will take our slide, drag it, lock it back, click our takedown lever up, do a couple of racks, a trigger pull, resets and goes off again fine. Let me grab some dummy rounds. We're going to test the extractor before we finish up. Alright, I'm back. I grabbed some dummy rounds to put in our magazine. These are Steelworks 9mm snap caps. Only a few. Just to cycle the firearm, make sure everything works as it should. Magazine works as it should for sure. Alright, we'll rack. That did chamber around. We'll press check that to see that it did. Now hopefully it ejects around. And it does. And we'll do that until empty. And we're empty. That did eject. That just fell right back into the chamber. Put those away. Oops, sorry. Alright, and that is the detailed strip of the Sauer P365 with the manual safety. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.